What is good, y'all? This is the OG Bronc Nuts. 719 West. Broncos Chargers game is a wrap. And just want to get on a little live stream, talk some Broncos. Broncos beat the Chargers, get their first win of the year. Good game. Broncos really played their best complete game today, offensively, defensively. Considering who we had down in this game, didn't have some of our players, but neither did the Chargers, and that's part of the NFL game that, you know, when you beat up, it's just the next man up. You got to just keep playing. So happy to see the Broncos get off the schneid today. But today, and I can, if you heard from the title, Broncos Streak Week. So Broncos get our 500th win as a franchise. And also, we ended a streak that the Chargers had of 55 straight games of scoreless, or well, actually they've scored every time in the first half. Nobody shut them out for 55 straight games, which was, I think, an NFL streak. I know a franchise streak for sure. So good to see that, and of course break our 0-4 streak. Now, I'm not going to get that excited. I mean, obviously I wanted to win. This team needs a positive stepping stone. I think that we took a big step in the right direction today. And it's going to be a grind for us to get back on track. You can still see that we do some things wrong. But thanks for everybody joining the stream. Last Stump, CA Sports, DB4L, My High 69, Kenny Slavens, Mike Minitucci, Steven Strump, Samuel Arenas. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Just happy as a fan just to get this first one off our back, get that monkey off our back. Our franchise has never started 0-5, and we've still never started 0-5. So thank goodness we get the win today. I thought that Lindsey had a big day. Big day also out of A.J. Johnson, stepping up big in that middle linebacker spot. I don't know why Johnson's really hadn't been playing this whole year. I mean, I understand he's been out of the game for 3 years, and Coach Fangio says he's learning just how to play NFL football, but that guy right there was making sure that we weren't getting taken advantage of in the middle today, and came up with a big interception, almost had the game sealer interception, but a big pickoff in the end zone, and big ups and big props to A.J. Johnson filling a big gap for some inside linebackers that we had injured. So I just happy that we finally get off that schneid. I think we saw some great defensive plays today. Also seen Von Miller really crashing, scraping down the line, helping take away that inside the tackle running game that a lot of people have been able to beat us up with. Chargers had a couple of tight ends down in this game, and that's kind of where we're a little bit vulnerable. But again, just was impressed by the play of Alexander Johnson today, and I knew that, that I had a sneaking suspicion this guy could be a football player for us, and that's why he's still on the roster. I hadn't seen a lot of playing time, but to me, he's better than Josie Jewell every day and twice on Sunday. So let's hope we see more out of him. Mike Minitucci, Malik Reed's the next Barrett. I agree, man. Malik Reed played well in the preseason, had a couple of big games. I remember that preseason game we had against Atlanta. He made 2 big plays, and right there at the end of the game, when was the difference in the game, reason why we won the game, had a big play a couple weeks ago in a game, and then played really well today. So it's starting to take shape. Cousin Candy Harrington, love you too. Thanks for showing up to the stream. Lindsey did a great job today. I agree with you, Laz. He really did, and I wish we would play more. There's one thing I don't like about the play calling that Scangarello was doing here, is I don't think we involved Lindsey enough. Freeman, to me, is too slow hitting the hole. He's a between the tackles power runner, grind it, bend your face mask type of guy, and I like him in 2-back sets back there with Andy Janovich, our fullback. I like that look, but I really like in single back sets. I like Lindsey, and I don't think we get the ball to him enough in space. We're throwing the ball too much to Freeman, and Freeman just doesn't have that burst, doesn't have that cut speed to make you miss, and that quickness. And I just think our offense is so much more dynamic when Lindsey's in the game. So just happy the Broncos finally get a win. I mean, it's hard to watch our season as a Broncos fan because when you look at this, I mean, you know that we're not the Cincinnati Bengals, we're not the Dolphins. Those teams are bad. Those teams are terrible. Those teams are trash. They have no talent on those teams. This is not the case here in Denver. We've ran into a couple of bad calls and a couple of times just, we got punched in the mouth by the Raiders. We had some games that we could have won. And this team could very easily have a much better record than it does, but we don't. And we just have to sleep in the bed we've made and grind it out. And maybe this can spark something. We can put something together. Who knows? We win next week. Got a big game against Kansas City coming up in a couple of weeks here in Denver. So you never know what can happen. Things don't look good for the Broncos as far as playoff opportunity. But I didn't think we were a playoff team coming into the year. I think I made that clear. Sorry, I got the hiccups, y'all. Arrow 24, West. Broncos finally get the W. I'm really happy. Lopez. I'm at the game, Bronco fans. Everywhere we go, Broncos. Yeah. So I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get to the game next week. I know I'm going to be at the Chiefs game. So if any of you guys are out there fans of my channel, I'll kind of like put it out early where I'm going to be. So if you want to come by, take some pictures, maybe hop in my live stream a little bit. I mean, I'm down with that. But yeah, it's fun. Mike Vinatucci, Yidam is done. Yidam's terrible to me. I mean, Yidam looks so unsure of himself when he's on the field. He's an absolutely nervous wreck. But we've got a lot of guys injured in that secondary, and that was a big game that they pulled up. I mean, Kareem Jackson, that hit he put on Eckler to knock him out of bounds and dislodge the ball right there at the goal line. Man, what a great play. And just reading that out and sniffing that out, that's where that might go, that little reverse. And that, that's a difference in the game, little things like that. And that's the things that we weren't doing that we did today. So happy the Broncos break our 0-4 streak. We bust up, the Chargers 55 game streak of scoring in the first half. We shut them out in the first half, and then obviously win our 500th game of our franchise history to continue that streak, which just big ups to the Broncos for not only having the fan support on the road and at home. We get that fan support no matter what this record is, because the people that are ride or die with the Broncos, they ain't going nowhere no matter what the score is. This ain't some fair weather fans that don't show up to the game when the teams are losing like they did in Kansas City. This is a real team with a real fan base that's deep, and we know we're going to be good again. We're just going to have to go through a process here. I really don't want to comment too much on Fangio and what he's doing with our team, just like I didn't with Vance his first year. I'm going to let this just kind of play out. One thing that I think that we got decision coming around the corner is, Drew Lock says his thumb is healthy. He doesn't have any pain left in that, but he doesn't want to, was kind of apprehensive to say when he might return, because who knows if the Broncos brass are planning on just shelving him and sandbagging him until next year. I didn't really see that he was going to play a lot this year, no matter really what the record was. There's been some trade talk, trade rumors. Obviously, they said that, Von Miller is not one of the people on the trade block, but if we continued to lose, anybody would be open for suggestion. I think by the end of the year, Broncos would probably make a trade. I think it'll probably involve Emmanuel Sanders or Chris Harris. I really don't see Von Miller going anywhere, and I really don't think that he should, not this year, maybe next year. Just have to see how things pan out and play out, but that's too much to go think about right now. Just, happy that our franchise gets our first win today, because it's really depressing to go that long without football and come off of the 4 or whatever losses that we had at the end of the year and then roll them into 4 more this year and 8 straight losses. And finally we get that over with and we can just start building a culture. I think Fangio is going to be fine here, but, we'll see. Broncos fan for life says Keenan Allen was a lock trash wide receiver. I actually think he's a pretty good wide receiver, but he did talk a lot of smack last year, called us lucky, and today he did absolutely nothing out there on that field. So LA Original, Yeah, you guys didn't have a heartbeat until the second half. You guys got on a little bit of a roll. I was surprised that Rivers didn't play better than he did, and I was actually surprised that they played Gordon as much as they did, at least starting him off in the game. I mean, I think Eckler's had a great season there. He's done great things and in sync with what's going on with that team. And I also feel, maybe it seemed like Rivers, I mean, he cries a lot. I mean, he's a really emotional guy wearing emotions on his sleeve. But it seemed like to me right there on one of those last drives when we blitzed, he had to get rid of the ball, that Melvin wasn't in the spot he was supposed to be. And that's what he was so upset about. And I think that's just sync and continuity with an offense. So I was surprised to see Gordon play as much as he did, especially, when you guys are still right in the thick of things. But hell of a game. It's always tough to win a division game. I don't know, for some reason, I don't have a lot of hate for the Chargers. I mean, I just don't. There's not been a lot of drama games that have happened, at least during my lifetime, between us and them that have had that big of implications. So beating them, I mean, it feels good always to win a game. It feels a little bit extra good to win against a division AFC West opponent. But for some reason, to me, it's never felt really that good to beat the Chargers, just like something we should do. But, they've had the best of us recently, but at least we've got an opportunity here maybe to sweep them in the division because they still got to come to Denver. Rivers always usually plays pretty well against us. He also plays really well in Denver. So, we'll see how those things go. Arrow 24 says they need to get Emmanuel involved more. He only got 3 targets today. I think so, and I think that, Emmanuel, you could see that on his face. He was a little frustrated at the end of the game because he wasn't getting the ball, and I think Emmanuel knows that he's a playmaker, but at the end of the day, you guys got to be a team player, and you got to be happy that, if the team's winning, you're moving the ball. We played a little good defense today. We tried to give the Chargers a game. Flacco threw a couple balls, that shouldn't have been thrown, and some balls got picked up, some turnovers happened. But this isn't a bad team, Broncos fans. It's not a terrible team. It's just a team with a bad record. And we're not a good team. We're just an average team. This is a team that should be an 8-8 team at the end of the year, but I don't know if we're going to be able to win 7 more games with the start that we've had. I think we would have needed to have picked up a couple of those to end up 8-8. But that's about all the expectations were. You can't set the bar and the expectations too high when you got a brand new quarterback, brand new offensive and defensive coordinators, head coaches, schemes. I mean, new people in the building. The Broncos have had a lot of turnover at head coach, and it's time for us just to sit down and let somebody build something. And I was willing to let Vance be that guy to do it, but I just saw the undisciplinedness that we had and not being able to get in and plays in and out of the huddle and pre-snap penalties and all of those things. To me, it's coaching. And so that's why I was on him in year 2 pretty big. But I think Fangio is going to put us in the right direction. And I think we're just going to have to, sit here and bide our time and get a little bit younger, maybe make a little couple creative moves and stockpile some draft picks. We're probably going to have a relatively high one this year. And let's just rebuild this franchise. We'll be right back in the thick of things. I mean, as far as I go, I'm a Broncos fan for life. I bleed blue and orange. I might get on the Broncos, get on some players, get pissed off at some coaches, but at the end of the day, I still love this team, and I'm going to rep it everywhere I go. Yo, DB4L says we're back. I don't know if we're back, but at least we've won 1 game. I mean, it's always nice to get that first one and just get that first win under your new head coach's belt. Something that just has to happen. It's just today's just something we can build on. That's all it is. And we finally closed the game out today, right? I mean, we got to the end of the game there, and they had the ball, had a chance to go tie it up, and we missed the interception, so it looked like, we may not have close this game out. Rivers might do to us what he's been doing to some of these teams the last few weeks, and that game for us, if we lose the game, kind of goes the way we been playing the last few weeks, really dominating, controlling the game for most of the game, and then just not able to close it there out at the end. But today we did, and I think we really just put it all on the back of Philip Lindsay. He had a big day today, had big runs, and I think like Romo said on TV, he's cracked off a lot of those big runs this year, but a lot of them been called back by holding penalties or false starts or illegal procedure or 2 men in motion. And so, it goes as a 0 in the stat book like it never even happened. And today, those plays stood. Big shout out to our offensive line. I think Reisner's coming along really nice. It's going to be nice when we get our right tackle back. Bowles is playing better. I mean, he's still, to me, He's got a long ways to go, but he's definitely playing better, and he's not at least holding and costing us and killing drives. Didn't see a whole lot out of Noah Fant today, but the good news is that there was we took care of the ball as far as receivers and backs. We just we had some balls tipped, and we had some unfortunate things, and we were able to just play through that. Some good goal line stands. I mean, I was impressed with what the Broncos did. McManus, missed the field goal. Man, those kind of things just can't happen. You can't give pro players extra chances and expect to win on Sunday. Last Stump says, I wish Chubbs get better soon so he can play. Everybody wants to see Bradley Chubb on the field. Look, you always, even as a fan of other teams, I've watched other teams, and I like watching some of the players on other teams, and I want to see the best players play. When I watch the Bears, I want to see Khalil Mack on the field. When I watch the Raiders, I want to see Derek Carr play quarterback. And so I always like to see the best players. Unfortunately, anybody gets hurt. Speaking of hurt, you see that big hit that Mason Rudolph or whatever his name is at Pittsburgh took? Oh my gosh! As soon as he hit, I was like, quarterback's dead. I can't believe he stood up and walked off to that big. Hope he's feeling good. Hey, Fizzle Productions, what's good, Bronc Nuts? Nothing. Just enjoying the first win we got. At least we don't start off 0-5. Big ups to your Gators, 6-0. Gators looking nice so far this year. I'm glad that quarterback was able to come back in and play. Man, it was going to be an unfortunate thing if he was down for the season, but it sure didn't look like he was going to ever play again. But he came back in, and big heart and big ups to the Florida Gators for how well they're doing. Mike Benitucci says, who sucks now, Keenan Allen? That references it last year. Keenan Allen was throwing all kinds of shade at the Broncos when we beat him. And now, again, he came in here running his mouth. He didn't do nothing today. Keenan Allen was a non-factor. And for the Chargers to win, Keenan Allen has to play well. He just does. Especially when they're down their two best tight ends and they got a back that's coming off of sitting out for 8 weeks. You got to have your big players got to show up in these games, and he didn't today, and that definitely helped the Broncos out a little bit. Spencer Alvarez says, I knew A.J. Johnson was a baller. Well, look, you saw it from me first. When we signed A.J. Johnson, literally as the gavel went down in the courtroom to the biggest free agent contract signing in Broncos history, which has now been superseded. I think it was superseded by Brett Ripien, getting him as an undrafted free agent. But Johnson was supposed to be a second-round draft pick coming out of Tennessee. I think when you look at the guy's size, speed, physical attributes, the things that he can do, he looks like a middle linebacker. Josie Jewell looks like a skateboarder. And I just think that we just look so much better between the tackles, just really not letting people take advantage of us. And then maybe they were concerned about Johnson's ability to cover. But, today he has an interception in the end zone, which turned out to be a big interception, and then drops, basically the game winner that I think really it's not so much that he dropped it. If you look at that throw, it was coming, it was right out of the sun-shade line there that was on the field, and his guy was on the shade, and he slipped back into the sun. I think the ball just kind of surprised him. And he's a linebacker. It's not like he's supposed to have the best hands in the world. But those types of plays are plays we got to make, because that's a difference between winning and losing. But I'm excited about A.J. Johnson. I was excited that when we signed him, I was like, man, we might have got a little steal right here that nobody really knows about. It's like getting an extra draft pick, and it still may turn out that way. But, no offense to Josie Jewell, but I just don't see Josie Jewell as being a middle linebacker in the NFL. I really don't. He's the size of a safety. Yo DBL says we should win next week. Look, there's no easy games in the NFL. We'll just have to take it one game at a time and prepare and hope we come out and play again well next week. Ninja Eel says, what's up, Bronc Nuts? I thought Alexander Johnson was awesome. He played great tonight. He was really one of the standout players in the game, and really you can make an argument that Alexander Johnson was one of the driving forces on why the Broncos won this game. Because if you look at how he was able to shut down the middle and picking that ball off, and he made a couple big tackles and he knocked out our own player. But he's an aggressive, physical, mean guy, and that's the type of guy we need in the middle anchor in this defense. So he's been out of football for a few years, and Coach Fangio said, look, he's just learning how to play in the NFL and how to play the NFL game. So hopefully his maturity process and his learning process and just keeps continuing, because we really need a guy like him to step forward and play big. We really do. What else we got here? Mike Vinatucci, think AJ is our future at middle linebacker. I sure hope you're right. Is Bosby all right? I haven't heard any news on it. I mean, he took a big shot, and it was a head-to-head shot. I'd imagine he's in, concussion protocol. That was a pretty big hit, and Johnson's a big guy. I mean, he's a big man. That's a physical human being. Spencer Alvarez says Yidam sucks. Yidam's terrible, man. He's terrible. I don't really think that. I mean, I don't know where we were at even drafting this guy. There's nothing about Yidam to me that excites me at all, and not at all. And I'm just nervous every time he's in there. UMC Sniper, what's happening? Thanks for showing up to the stream. Matt Rodriguez, what about a Von Miller trade? I am not for a Von Miller trade right now. Not this year. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. We signed Joe Flacco to a 3-year contract. I don't think we ever expected Locke to play this year unless there was an injury or unless the Broncos' record was absolutely atrocious in week 8, 9, or 10. We still may be that. We'll see. But as far as Vaughn goes, Vaughn's the anchor of this defense, and I understand all the reasons why we should trade him. It's going to be a few years for us to put something back together, and we're probably going to miss, the end of Vaughn's career, and he's not going to be able to help us, get back to a spot where we can compete for a Lombardi trophy. So I'm not above trading Von Miller, but not this year. I think if it was going to be done, it has to be after next year or maybe even the third year, depending on how Locke develops and what we see in the preseason and how Flacco plays the rest of this year. A lot of people have been on Flacco's case. I think Flacco's played very well, and I think he's delivered everything that he was billed to be on coming here. Do I think he can play better? Yes, I do. I think he's made some nice throws. He's really checked us into some good plays. Flacco threw for 300 yards last week. I don't know what he did today. We ran the ball a lot today, but I think that Flacco played very well. And so I'm not for a Miller trade yet, but it could be something that comes down the road. Bronco J Mac 3 says we need Trevathan back. I mean, I'd love to have Trevathan back. And for you, those fans out there that says, oh, Elway should have kept Trevathan. He makes all the wrong moves. Well, that maybe is so, but this is about dollars and cents, man. And Trevathan was coming off a Super Bowl ring here and making a name for himself. He's about to get big money. And when you have him, Malik Jackson, we had some guys that, that were going there, Ward, that need some paydays. And so, I mean, obviously getting rid of him was not, in hindsight, the best thing for our franchise, but it was the decision we had to make at the time. But, yeah, I'd love to have Malik Jackson on our roster. Brandon Barrett, what's happening? Ninja Eel says it's scary when Dante Spencer fields punts. I don't know, not to me. I mean, the kid's fielded them pretty well. He's pretty sure-handed. No, what was scary was when Trenton Holiday was fielding punts. Or even worse, that sorry-ass Isaiah McKenzie, who had a big reverse yesterday. But that's the thing about Isaiah. I mean, he was with the Bills. I think he scored 1 touchdown this year. I'm not sure if he's returning kicks for them or not. I think he is. But he had one run yesterday where he broke something really nice. And, I had some people say, well, look, there goes McKenzie, the guy you hate. And I'm like, well, he can't get on the field. You can't get the ball in his hands enough times to take up a roster spot. I'm glad he's gone. But I don't know. For me, I think that Dante Spencer has got sure enough hands. He doesn't make me that nervous. Most of those punt returns are little scat back guys. There's a rumor that if we get eliminated from playoff contention with some games left to play, Drew Lock will play once he's healthy. MC Sniper 123 says, thank you by joining the stream. I agree with you. I mean, a Lock should play. I mean, you got to see what you got, right? I mean, we've seen a little bit in preseason. We've seen he made some throws. I was like, wow, that's nice. But, he made some bad decisions too, and I just don't think, it's all come together for him yet. I think he'll make a big step in maturity, and hopefully he does get into some games later this year if things aren't really going well for us and it doesn't look like, the Broncos are going to be playing for anything. And so let's get him in the game. Let's see what we got. I think Locke's the real deal. Out of that draft, I liked Daniel Jones #1, and I liked Locke #2. The year before, I liked Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen were the 2 quarterbacks that I was high on. And so, I don't know. We'll see how Locke ends up doing, but I think he's got all the potential, all the makings to be an NFL quarterback. sign back Sua Cravens and throw him in as the middle linebacker. He's too little, Mr. McDuddy, man. I do like Sua Cravens. I was kind of surprised that he didn't make the roster, but again, I think it was all really about money. Brandon Barrett, A.J. Johnson played good. Yeah, he did. We've been talking about him here in the stream. I thought A.J. Johnson, really was one of the big factors in the game why the Broncos won the game. And so you got to like having some undrafted free agents like a Lindsey, like an A.J. Johnson on the team contributing, because that's really what it takes to complete and round out a roster. You've got to draft well. You've got to supplement some pieces that you need through free agency, and you've got to get a couple of unrestricted free agents make the football team. And so the Broncos have done that. And, look, I just am happy that with the injuries that we've had on defense and the kicks to the knees that we've taken with some of our corners, obviously losing Chubb, that we were able to go out there today and stop a guy like Eckler, who's had a big season, stop a guy like Melvin Gordon, who I think is one of the most talented backs in the NFL. Rivers, a guy that's been doing it for a long time. I think you guys saw the stat or whatever that flashed up on the TV that since Rivers has been the quarterback, we've had like 9-10 guys under center here in Denver, including Peyton Manning. So it's been a carousel of quarterbacks and also been a carousel of head coaches here, and it's time for the Broncos to just, we've got to stick to our guns here, and we just got to grind this out, and I think we can get back to winning football. Yo, DBL4L says, loves my show. Go Broncos. Thanks for showing up, man. I really appreciate you guys showing up here and hearing what I had to say. Kareem Jackson played a pretty solid game. You hope he can keep it up, says Ninja Eel. Look, Kareem played big today, really big today, and especially with our defensive backcourt being as hurt as it was. I mean, that play that he made on the goal line, lodging the ball loose, and that being right there at the end of the half, which, that was awesome because that ended the Chargers' 55-game streak of never being shut out in the first half. So the Broncos defense showed up to play today. We played mistake-free. We didn't have a lot of penalties, and at least we didn't have a lot of big play drive-killing penalties. And I think that once we had the lead, we grounded out, and the defense showed up there at the end when we really needed them. And that's just what you got to do to win games in the NFL. So, look, I don't think the Chargers are a good team. I didn't think that going into the year. I don't think that they're a bad team. I think that they're just a little bit better than us. And today we came out on the win side of it. And so it's good to get that W. Chargers got to hold that L. And let's just string a couple of these together, and let's just, build a foundation. We got to build a culture here. We got to get something going in the right direction for Broncos country to build a winning culture here. And I think we got the right coach and the right coaching staff to do it. It's just going to take some time. So let's be patient, stay behind the Broncos. I mean, look, you're going to take a lot of ridicule as a fan when your team's 1-4, but this is when the team needs you the most. I mean, it really is. It's when the team needs you the most. And the Broncos fans have been here through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And right now, we just have to be on the downstroke, on the ugly stroke. And I think things are going to get better, but we need to get some players healthy. Specifically, as Brandon Barrett says, Bryce Callahan. Callahan's really got to get healthy because we need some people. We need some people back there. I don't know what the status of Bosby is. If anybody has heard, or I haven't heard anything. If anybody's listening to 85 KOA and listening to the Greek give the injury report, fire it down here in the chat so that we can all know. King Stacy says, what's up? How do I feel about the Von Miller trade? Well, there is not going to be a trade. He's not on the trading block, and I'm not for a trade. Shrey Bodapati says, do you think the Broncos will beat the Titans? Right now I don't have a lot of confidence in the Broncos just to say, we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. I have confidence in the Broncos to beat anybody, to tell you the truth. I think that if we come out and we've got enough offensive weapons, that if we can get Sanders involved and use more Lindsey on first and second downs and get him in some space, get him the ball more, and we can just play relatively good defense, I think we're going to be in a lot of football games. But look, I don't think that Nashville, the Tennessee Titans, I don't think that they're a team that we need to be scared of. I mean, this isn't the Chiefs, this isn't the Patriots, and we're not scared of nobody. I'm just talking about teams that have a little bit more juice on offense than we can probably stop. So we've either got to catch them off an off day, or we've got to create some turnovers. And in the NFL, the ball bounces funny. Teams win all the time that aren't supposed to win, and that's why they play the games. David from Colorado, time to get on a roll. Well, hey, no, to get on a roll, you got to win the first one, and that's what we did today. So we took care of a little business. Matt Rodriguez, I don't think the Broncos are out of it. Not yet. Well, hey, it's 1-4. I mean, you're not out of it. And you have to put together a lot of wins. But there was a year, I think, not too long ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I think the Chiefs started off, 0-5? And ended up winning like 10, 11 games in a row or something. So, it can be done. I don't think that we're a complete enough team right now to do something like that. But I do think we're a good enough team to beat anybody on any given Sunday. Like I said, this isn't the Miami Dolphins. This isn't the sorry Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, there's players here that can make plays. We can do a few things with the talent that we have. We're just not playing well, and at least today we put it all together, and we did. Brandon Barrett says Lindsey needs to be the starting running back #1. I agree. I mean, he's just looks so much better than Freeman. Gives us that burst through the line. He's very patient hitting the holes, but once the hole opens up, he has that burst to get through it, and Freeman just doesn't have it. And Freeman's just got to be a between-the-tackles runner. And like I said, I like him in 2-back sets with Janovich in front. Let's just bring, a heavy load and then a heavier load behind that. And let's just try to run some people over, play some smash-mouth football, control the clock in the fourth quarter when we build up some leads. And I think we're moving slowly towards that. So we'll see how it goes here from there. When do we get Theo Riddick back? I know he's on the IR. Usually that's you got to be on that, I think, for 6 weeks. So should be pretty soon because I think he got hurt right there at the last preseason game or something. So I think Riddick will be back in the mix here pretty soon, although I don't know how much Riddick is going to play because I think our other 2 backs are better than he is anyway. The 1992 Chargers are the last 0-4 team to make the playoffs. Well, I mean, that just goes and shows you it can be done. It can be done. And who knows what's going to happen. I mean, you go out and you play the games as hard as you can. You let the chips fall where they're going to fall. You never know what other injuries are going to affect other teams when you happen to catch them. You get healthy on your bye week and get players back. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go good, bad, wrong in the NFL, and you just got to take it one game at a time. And so right now we're 0-4, which is still a shitty record, but it's 1-4. And hopefully next week we can make it 2-4, and you get on a little roll, you put something together, who knows what can happen. But I'm not going to look that far down the road right now. Let's just take it one game at a time. UMC Sniper says he's going to dip. Take care. You take care of yourself, man. I'll see you next week. Nikolai Courtney, what's up, Bronc? That's not much, Nikolai. Thanks for coming to the stream. Chief Urag in the house. Hi, Denver still sucks. Well, I don't expect anything different. I mean, Denver does suck right now. You guys are, look, we see what's happening. We see what's happening, but we've seen it before, Urag. So we're all watching. Again, this is your chance to show the whole NFL you're the best team in the NFL and bring home the Lombardi. We'll see. It's a long season. A lot of games still have to be played. Anything can happen. Anybody can get hurt. And heck, on your team, somebody could get suspended next week for the rest of their life. Oceanside Boy 760, Chargers are worse than the Bengals. I smelled them losing from a mile away. The Broncos were better and should be 3-2, and the Chargers should be 0-5. Well, I don't know if it's that bad. I don't think the Chargers are worse than the Bengals. I think the Bengals are pretty bad. But I don't know. I mean, you are what you are in this world in the NFL, and we're, our record's 1-4. So people could say we should be 3-2. We should be what we are, and which is 1-4. Chief Urag, still love you, buddy. I love you too, man. Hey, for those you don't know, me and Chief Urag, we got a little special relationship, a little special connection. Everybody knows I hate the Chiefs, but he's my favorite Chiefs fan. He's the reason I'm on YouTube to begin with, why I'm even doing this stream. So if you're not subbed up to Chief Urag, go sub him up. If you're a Broncos fan, you go sub him up. You better have tough skin because he's gonna needle you a little bit. But hey, that's the way we do it here. Oceanside Boy, I ain't doing crow or rage video, but baby mamas and ghetto people want a reaction, so you're going to upload an honest video soon. Well, look, I mean, I don't care how people make videos. I don't judge people how they make videos. I don't even reference the TT whatever. I just make my own videos, and if I talk some trash during the week, best believe I'm going to be here to eat some crow. I mean, I always give a team good crow. If you beat us fair and square, I mean, even if you beat us with some bad calls from the refs, I'm not going to make a whole bunch of excuses. All the teams get bad calls. all the teams have the same opportunity to win when they come and show up to the yard on Sunday, and one team gets it done and the other team don't. So that's the way it goes in pro football. David from Colorado says the Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL. I think so too, but I think that the Bengals are probably just right behind them. Ninja SSL, do I know the Mad Fanatic? He's a great Broncos rapper. Of course I know the Mad Fanatic. All real Broncos fans know who the Mad Fanatic is. I've met him a couple times, actually, and I've actually appeared in one of his videos, not like as a feature or anything. Like, me and Mad Fanatic aren't boys. I just happened to be at one of his stadium concerts when he was singing and filming, and I was in the background, but it's in a black and white video, and you have to know exactly where I'm standing to even see me. So it's not like I'm famous or anything, but yeah, I know who the Mad Fanatic is. I really love his music. I love his songs. And, you know, look, it's a lot more fun when we're winning, because when you're Mad Fanatic, it's just like, you know, doing what I do. It's really hard to talk a bunch of trash when your team's 0-4, but I'm going to be here come hell or high water before and after the game. And, you know, look, I'm going to take bullets and answer for my team. If we played terrible and you put a boot in our ass, I'm going to let you know you did. And I'm going to give you props for it, too. Oceanside Boy says, you guys won, played well. Give credit to you, Broncos. Well, look, I didn't make no plays out there today. I'm just here cheering my little heart out, supporting my team. But I am glad as a fan that we finally get this first one out of the way, because man, we've never been 0-5, and it's just, that's a tough thing to swallow. I mean, I don't mind if we get beat by teams that are better than us. I mean, if we just get flat out overrun in a game, I don't really mind it that bad. I hate getting beat by referees, and I hate getting beat by soft roughing the passer calls that are happening. I mean, there was another one that was in the Thursday night game that was just, they're brutal. These refs are ruining the game. I hate losing like that. Or I hate losing on some fluky play or something. You know, I can take a butt beating, you know, if somebody just comes out and they just steamroll you. But I don't feel like we've been steamrolled yet this year. If you could say anybody steamrolled us, the Raiders steamrolled us in week 1, but we didn't get steamrolled by the Packers. We damn sure didn't get steamrolled by the Bears. And, you know, we haven't been really we've been in all of those games. Those are games that we very easily could have won that we didn't win. So, look, that's the difference between being 3-2 and being 1-4. And we are what you are. So 1-4, look, we'll take the win today because we had to get the first one. Anyway, I'm going to get to watching some Sunday Night Football. We're going to watch these Chiefs, see what they do against the Colts. I'm looking for the Chiefs probably to have a big game. Mahomes probably throw 3, 4, 5 touchdowns tonight. I don't see this being too much of a football game, but look, you never know. Like we've always say, the ball bounces funny. You still got to go out and execute. You still got to go make plays, and every snap matters, whether it's an extra point, a punt, or a regular just 3rd and 1 where you're handing it off to the tailback trying to pick up a first down. It all matters. So hopefully the Chiefs stub their toe, but I doubt it. It's the OG Bronc Nut 719. West Broncos moved to 1-4, and I think we all can be happy about that. That at least we took one step in the right direction today. Now we take 2 next week, put 2 and 2 together, and now we're going somewhere. Thanks for everybody showing up to the stream, even the late ones that just came in, Lit Rinman 34. Hey, thanks for showing up. Thanks for checking out what I have to say, and I'll see you next week for the pregame for the Titans. I'm out. See you tomorrow, sucker!